Welcome to Roll Call, a 126th Air Refueling Wing podcast of the Illinois Air National Guard at Scott Air Force Base.
You guys have a nice flight. We'll see you back here.
I'm your host, Master Sgt. Brian Ellison. The Roll Call podcast focused on people, mission, and community. Thanks for listening. Coming up, reflections on Black History Month from 126th Force Support Squadron Commander Captain Doria Holland, 126th Security Forces Squadron Senior Enlisted Leader Chief Master Sgt. Kendrick Henry, and 126th Recruiter Staff Sergeant Tawan Williams. Coming up in April is the Boom Selection Board for current military members. Boom Operator In-Flight Refueling Specialist, the technical name. The selection board is for drill status guardsmen. The board is scheduled for April 2nd at 09. Applications are due by the close of business March 25th. Applications need to have a cover letter, a resume that includes 3 references. Those 3 letter of recommendations may come from your references. A minimum armed service vocational aptitude battery is 55 in the general category. You can see Recruiting's Facebook page for more information on the board and what else you need. You can call them too, the recruiting office, 618-222-5701. It's February. That means we are in the tax season. The Mil Tax link on Military OneSource is a suite of free tax services from the military, including easy-to-use tax preparation and e-filing software, personalized support from tax consultants, and current information about filing taxes in the military. It's designed to address the realities of military life, including deployments, combat, and training pay, housing and rentals, and multi-state filings. I know we use it at my house. Every year. If eligible, you can file 1 federal and up to 3 state tax forms at no cost. Did you know that military dependents are eligible to file their taxes through MilTax too? You can also talk with a MilTax consultant or for military specific questions regarding your taxes by calling 800-342-9647. All free of charge. Military OneSource website is militaryonesource.com. One is spelled out. According to blackhistorymonth.gov, Black History Month was founded by Harvard-trained historian Carter Woodson and his group, the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. It was announced in 1925 and first celebrated as Black History Week in 1926. They chose February because it was the birth month of President Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. The celebration expanded to a month in 1976, the nation's bicentennial. President Gerald Ford urged Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. Since then, each American president has issued Black History Month proclamations, and the association, now called the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, continues to promote the study of Black history all year. I'll put a link to blackhistorymonth.gov in the show's description. 126th Security Forces Senior Enlisted Leader Chief Master Sergeant Kendrick Henry tells us about the influence of his grandfather as we look at Black History Month here in the wing.
Who inspired me growing up? I would have to say my grandfather. He was more of a father figure to me than anything. I contribute him to basically giving me an image of what to be, how to be, is anywhere from a family man, a provider for his household, a loving father, loving grandfather, and overall he was just highly respected both by his peers and his family. He also served in the U.S. Army, which later transitioned to the Army Air Corps. As a military policeman, which further down the line, fast forward, many years later, the career field became security forces. Hearing his stories at Thanksgiving dinner table, he did often relate to me the obstacles and the challenges that he had in the military as an African American. But for the most part, some of the most valuable lessons that he taught me was, you just put in the work. Hard work. He finished his career out as a technical sergeant. At the time, the highest rank that you could achieve would have been a Master Sergeant. So that would be equivalent to him making Senior Master Sergeant today. And so it was actually, enlightening and inspirational for during that period, World War II, which is during the time that he served and on, is that he was able to achieve those ranks in the military. Only 1% of the Air Force achieves the rank of Chief Master Sergeant in their career. And so I don't take that lightly, because out of the 1%, there's a small percentage of us that serves in the military as well. And so as a whole, wearing the stripes, and each day I put on the uniform, I try to make sure that I wear these stripes with the utmost respect and carry myself in a manner that can be respected by all. Well, I can't necessarily say I have one mentor, because throughout my career, I was taught that it's important to constantly learn from everyone. I've learned from commanders, chiefs, supervisors, colleagues, and even those whom I outrank. But if I had to pinpoint one person specifically within the wing that I watched and at times found inspirational, it would have to be my previous commander, Lieutenant Colonel John Brick. He was one that when I was a young staff sergeant, I got to watch from a distance him as an ops officer and a commander come in and have an idea and a vision of the culture of an organization that he wanted. And he basically showed me that if you're passionate enough and have the zeal to put in the hard work and develop your team, that you can change an organization to be exactly where and go in the direction where it needs to go. As a chief, you're always taught that you're a Chief Master Sergeant and a servant first before your career field. And so I try not to just limit my ability to mentor and develop others solely within the security forces career field. And so I extend my myself to people outside of my squadron throughout the wing. I actually had lunch today with a senior NCO in another squadron in the wing, just to talk about personal development and some career choices that they are planning to make. But personal interaction, developing relationships, and just establishing a rapport with everyone that you work with, your colleagues throughout the wing, just to let them know that if you have any questions or anything, I'm open to help. Through social media, I do a lot of reading, a lot of audio books, a lot of YouTube videos. If I find something that resonates with me, whom I believe that will be beneficial to others, I'll share that on my respective social media sites as well, and also send them out to the text groups, our squadron groups, as well, to hopefully inspire and let the same message resonate with others as it did with me. Okay, well, as a chief, whether I want to believe it or not, I'm coming towards the end of my career in the Air Force. And so it's important to take a look at my organization and see who's going to carry the baton after I'm long and gone. And so one of my goals, if it's just one, I would say to take a look at, the team, my team, and make sure that they're properly developed and have the necessary tools to carry the baton and do better things after I'm gone than I was able to accomplish in my time within that specific organization. Black History Month is a time for reflection on the accomplishments, the success stories that African Americans have made during our time here in America. It's a time to take a look at where we have come, where we are, and what efforts we need to make sure that the future is better tomorrow than what society is today. As a whole, we should always look at, how inclusive we are as a country, and during this time, it's always just a time to reflect and just take a look at, okay, what can we do as a society as a whole to ensure that everyone's allowed an equal opportunity to succeed and accomplish the American dream and do whatever it is that they would like to be during their time here on Earth. The Air National Guard is an opportunity that I recommend to all who want to serve. Any occupation, for the most, that you would like to work in, or the field you would like to work in, the Air National Guard has those opportunities, and you have the ability to seek out. I often kid with my first-term airmen and tell them that it's the best second job in the world. As a citizen airman, you can have a decision of what you want to be in the private sector, and then come serve your country and your state proudly in the Air National Guard as well. The Air National Guard is a family. It's always been a family. It's been an extended family for me over the past 24 years. It's been one of the best decisions that I've ever made, and I would recommend it to any and everyone. No matter if it's because you want to serve, because you're looking for opportunities to pay for education, or you're looking at being a part of something that's greater than yourself. The Air National Guard allows that opportunity for everyone.
Captain Doria Holland, Force Support Squadron Commander, looks back on the influence of her father and her mentors here in the wing.
My dad was active duty military, and he was a flyer on the old KC 135s back in the day. And he became a single parent of 4 kids. And so having to navigate his military career and be a single dad, he's just always been an inspiration. Man, I have lots of mentors, like by name.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Chief Henry, for sure. Him and I, we've had our heart-to-heart conversations about career progression. Colonel Jacobs, he was actually my very first flight commander almost 17 years ago. And for him to be my now current group commander has been pretty awesome to see his career advance as well as mine. I have different pockets of mentors throughout the wing. Colonel Jackson, for instance, he's definitely one of those individuals that kind of pushes against the grain, always wants to accelerate the change, and his transparency is definitely heartwarming. I how I mentor, I think any conversation, especially if someone is seeking advice or they're just a casual conversation saying, hey, I'm interested in commissioning, taking that opportunity to say, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, what steps are you willing to take? What actions are you willing to fulfill to kind of reach your dream? I know within the squadron being very diligent about, okay, what are your goals? Okay, how do we navigate you towards that path? And so, sometimes it can just be on the spot conversations, or others could just be, okay, we're going to schedule some office time and figure out what it is. Well, I have lots of goals. Whether or not, I think for me is I always create opportunities in different career projections for me personally. I have a civilian background as well in social work. I have spent 16 years in the field. And so I have, that goal that I could always work on or navigate if I wanted to go back into the civilian sector. My military goal, maybe becoming an 06 and kind of what that would take. And so just the opportunities there's lots of opportunities. And I think that also makes it pretty difficult too to kind of figure out, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up? Mm-hmm. Black History Month, what that means to me, it's a celebration. Celebration of those before us that paved the way, the individuals that were the trailblazers, the ones that said, I just going against the grain of what societal norms are, achieving and becoming incredible at what they do. It could be anyone, at any point in time, but just to celebrate that, the successes and even the failures for some folks. Black History Month is not only celebrated throughout February, but it's, throughout the year. Lifting those and, around you, pulling those that are behind you, bringing them up to your level. That's one thing that I've learned about mentoring is that, yes, as I have had a very successful career, but I didn't get here by myself. And so just pulling those along with me is what Black History Month means to me.
Staff Sergeant Tawan Williams tells us how he sees his role as a recruiter and role model in the National Guard. And at the end of this, he makes a great point about Black History Month being not just a month, but all year round.
I find recruiting rewarding due to the fact that I get in front of the individuals that we bring into this world's greatest Air Force. So I get an opportunity to go inside the schools, go into different communities, and find individuals that didn't know that this was the opportunity that they was missing in their lives, and I get a chance to be that person to change their lives for the better. Nice. Well, I have to be totally honest. The individuals that inspired me was my mom and my sisters, and my dad. Let me explain a little bit though. Let me tell you, so my mom showed me how to be respectful and how to honor adults and respect adults, and my sisters showed me how to respect women. They told me how to treat them and how to go in and out before them, and then my dad showed me how to be a man and how to stand when things got tough. And so it was a group of individuals that was in my life that inspired me to be the guy that I am. Yes, I was inspired by the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, and the different people that molded and shaped our freedom of being able to move in and out. But the individuals that was in my household was the most inspiring people in my life. Of course. When I joined the Air Force, I had no clue about the military, about how it works or anything like that. It was a whole unit that took me in and showed me the ins and outs, and that was the flight line, the crew chiefs. Just about every last one of them put their hand in the mix and inspired me and showed me the way. But I do have to point out two individuals that I look up to that made me want to do things in a different manner, and that's Colonel Hendricks and Colonel Jacobs. Those two, they have always had conversations on the side that they inspired me and made me want to do more here at the 126 and be the best that I can be. With the experience I had outside of the Air Force, I joined at a later age. I joined at 34. And so I already instantly received the maturity respect from the younger airmen and they always look towards me for advice or for direction, not only with their jobs but outside of their workplace as well as an individual. So I find myself mentoring or speaking into the lives of a lot of the other individuals around me in a very effective way, inside and outside the unit. And so that's how I feel like it helps with me being a little older. I was a life coach. I was character development director at community centers in the St. Clair County area, and also published author. Yeah, well, I would say, it translate in a unique way, because I saw a lot of things that I should not do. A lot of things that was negative, the things that I knew was wrong coming up in my lifestyle, and I knew that those were things that I didn't need to do as I got older. So I started to seek out the opposite, and that's when I began to find mentors via online at different communities or churches and things like that, finding people who looked like me that was doing the opposite of what I saw coming up. And so that's what inspired me to seek out better things. And so my parents told me to do things, but a lot of the things they was telling me to do was not being acted out. So it was do as I say, not as I do kind of teaching. So that taught me to go find what they was telling me to do. I went and found somebody that was actually doing it. I have a lot of goals here at the 126. I want to continue to grow as a airman, a person that is in the Air Force. I want to be able to continue to grow to the highest level I can grow, be influential with my mission and the work I do. As a recruiter, my goal is to be the greatest recruiter in the nation. I want to be known. I don't care if they have to put me on billboards. I want to be the best, because that's what I put myself in a position to do, to be the best at whatever I do. Because if I'm the best at whatever I do, the Air Force is going to continue to be the greatest. And so that's my goal, is to just, whatever I put my hands into, to do the best I can do. And that's it. And always be a student of the craft. I'm forever learning. So, yeah. Black history is huge. It means a lot to me. And what it is to me is my being, my life. I have to live that every day of my life, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, sunrise, sundown, sunset. So I can't even separate and say, okay, I want to participate in Black history. I am Black history. Every day I breathe and take another step, history is being made. And so not only do I want to take away from Black history and receive from Black history, I want to contribute. I want people to talk about my history when I leave this earth, and be influential to that next person, and not only to the Black community, but to all people. And so that's what Black history is to me, is to become nation, internationally wide, influential to the people that's around. Well, I know one thing is, here at this local 126, we're a family. We operate as a family. We operate as one. Yes, we may have good days, we may have bad days, but we all know that the mission needs to be accomplished, and it takes a unit, it takes oneness. And with the Air National Guard, I mean, it's a community. Like, you get to serve your country, but at the same time, you can generate and build a relationship with the people you work with. You don't join and then you never see the individual you joined with, or the recruiter that recruited you. You get to work right next to them, lock arms with them, and do the job and the mission together. So, joining the Air National Guard, the 126, you join in a community, you join in a family. And that's why I would like to let people know, if they want to join, that they're not just joining to be a part of a service, they're being a part of a community and a family. I would like to add that as we continue to go on and recognize Black History Month, we definitely need to understand that Black history is an everyday thing. And we all have to recognize that if we don't include it in life in general, it will always be segregated into 1 month.
With your look around the Air Force, I'm Senior Airman Khadija Slaughter. U.S. Air Forces Europe celebrates its 80th anniversary of continuous operation this year. For 8 decades, USAFE airmen have been responsible for protecting the homeland, containing and deterring threats, and helping U.S. partners and allies recover from natural disasters.
As the Air Force's oldest continuously active MAJCOM, we have inherited a proud tradition of excellence. And although we are proud of our legacy, we must acknowledge that we haven't done it alone. Working closely with our partners and allies, we continue to support peace and stability across Europe and Africa.
General Harigian adds, these relationships have endured over the last 80 years and will continue to grow stronger as the coalition works toward a better future together. A new infrared search and track unit, known as the Legion Pod, reached initial operating capability on the F-15C Eagle aircraft. The pod uses an infrared sensor to help pilots track and engage enemy aircraft in environments where they can't use traditional radar technology. It also provides monitoring capabilities at an extended range, boosting the effectiveness of the F-15C. Todd Mathis, part of Air Combat Command's F-15C program, calls the Legion Pod a game changer and says the capabilities it provides are critical to employing combat air power and keeping the Air Force at the leading edge of the fight. U.S. Northern Command is deploying 180 Air Force medical personnel to 6 states at the request of the Federal Emergency Management Agency to support civilian healthcare workers treating COVID-19 patients. Air Force doctors, nurses, and respiratory therapists are being sent in teams to healthcare facilities and communities that are heavily burdened by coronavirus-induced hospitalizations from California to New York State. The added personnel joined more than 1,000 who were already activated by the Department of Defense and sent out to support the COVID-19 response mission. And that's your look around the Air Force.
If you are having thoughts of suicide or know someone in crisis, call the Military Crisis Line, 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. Press 1. There's also a chat lifeline you can chat through on their website, suicidepreventionlifeline.org. That's suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Another way to get help is the crisis text line. You can text HELP, H-E-L-P, to 838-8255. That's 838-255. Text the crisis line, that's HELP, to 838-255. Something coming up here in March, Health Promotions is sponsoring a pain-free running and gait analysis clinic on Tuesday, March 8th. That's going to be led by physical therapy. And another one, March 25th, led by sports medicine. Registration is required. If you struggle with running, whether you love it or hate it, pretty much like I do, that's why I like to ride a bike, because then you don't run. Don't ask me, there's a difference. This workshop will help you become a more efficient runner and decrease your risk of energy. The workshop's going to include a classroom brief, and then they're going to highlight efficient running technique, and hands-on outdoor gait analysis is included. Of course, you should probably wear some PT gear. You don't have to wear the official PT gear, but fitness attire is required. The clinic is held in the Health Promotion Classroom. That's at 375th Medical Group on the first floor. Registration is required. Email Mrs. Brondmeyer directly at heather.l.brondmeyer.civ@mail.mil. Register now because space is limited. If you haven't heard yet, the 126th Air Refueling Wing Helping Agencies has started a new podcast called Positive Rotation. It's a podcast helping refuel your mind. Join Linda Shue, Director of Psychological Health, right now. She's in the middle of a 7-week podcast called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Airmen. It's based on Stephen Covey's work. After these 7 episodes, it will go to a monthly format. You can find it right now on the 126th Helping Agency's Facebook page. Eventually, I hope to get it up on podcast catchers. Seems that that process is taking a little bit of time. You can find all of our links on Linktree. That's linktr.ee /126ARW. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can also download this on your favorite podcast app. If you'd like to pass along some information, you can email roll call at 126.arw.pa.mm.org at us.af.mil.
We're good on approaching landing.
Thanks for listening to Roll Call, a 126th Air Refueling Wing podcast focused on people, mission, and community. I'm Master Sergeant Brian Ellison.